Rainbow Push. Push Tech 2023.
So Debbie Rosenbaum has a background that is deep. She is legal counsel. She's a leader of departments. But tonight she said, Pastor, I want to just come in and talk about the metaverse. So can we just chill and talk about the metaverse? I said, absolutely. So Debbie, come on up. Let's have a conversation. Let's welcome from our friends at Meta, Debbie Rosenbaum. I'm going to switch sides so she can show off her Jordans because I told her I was going to wear mine tonight. It's so great to have you, and it's such a great partnership we've had with your company. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me and us. It is truly an honor to be here, and we are really glad to be here, so thank you.
You wanted to help educate us a little bit, and we're going to see a Metaverse video from some of our Push Excel program in a minute, but I wanted the expert to come talk first a little bit. How would you describe the Metaverse to someone who's just hearing about it for the first time?
So I don't know, did you all see Jeopardy a couple weeks ago? So on Jeopardy a couple weeks ago, the Metaverse was the final clue. They said, what is the term that is about to describe like the upcoming technology, so much so that one of the big companies has changed their name?
Right.
Nobody got nobody got the answer. So for all of you who are thinking, oh my gosh, this term is saturated, it's everywhere, the answer to anybody who calls on your name and you're like, what's the answer? You're like, metaverse. The answer is metaverse. There's chief metaverse officers out there now. The term isn't actually that saturated because 0 people on Jeopardy actually got the final answer.
Wow.
So what is the metaverse? Today you look at the internet. In the future, you will be part of it. You will be experiencing it. For us, the defining quality of the metaverse is presence. And that really breaks open like a whole bunch of new opportunities and possibilities of defining like what does it mean to break down physical barriers that have faced us for so long. Across so much of the tech evolution, and there have been a whole bunch of evolutions along the way. So if you think about it, we've evolved from PCs to mobile and from sending text to photos to video. In our minds, we're about to move from having these mobile devices to new forms of cloud computing devices. Those will probably look like some form factor of either glasses on your face or another form of physical form factor. That sounds wild and crazy to a lot of us. To your children, it's not crazy.
Right.
That is the future. So what is the internet that's going to support all of those Internet of Things and those glasses? It's the metaverse. You can call it whatever you want, but it's just the next generation of the internet. It's going to be what supports those physical form factors that will make connecting so much more present and meaningful. It's really about the presence.
One of the things that I observed even as we started doing the White House tour with President Obama, you know, we've been able to brag about that and talk about that a lot. But it's like a 3D experience that you get to engage with, right? That's a pretty decent description of it.
That's right. So if you think about like a lot of the experiences you have on the internet today, they invite you to something. So if you are shopping for clothes, you can look at it and maybe like pick something from either Amazon or your favorite shop online. If you go to, let's say you want to like play a game online, you sort of can look at it. What if in the future you were shopping online and you could try the clothes on before they actually got to you?
Wow. Any ladies in here want to try on their clothes at their house?
I don't know, but like for me, that would be incredible. What if you were shopping for real estate and you could actually like, we're starting to see some of those 3D tours already, but what if you could like see that space before you actually, like, what if you could tour that space without leaving your house? For people with disabilities, for people who have physical ways that you can't travel, these are going to break open ways that have been barriers in the past for a lot of different communities.
Right.
So we get really excited about what are the opportunities. So a lot of people talk about gaming, but also what about education? So what about in the past where we've always been a very physical community where you've had to go to school? What if somebody, a student, a middle school or high school student, was learning about the pyramids of Giza, and you could actually like go to Egypt and see them?
Right.
For me, like, that is the reason I got into this. Like, if my niece and my nephew or the next generation don't learn about it by actually seeing it and doing it, we've missed the mark on this. This is about education and really seeing and doing. Like, I'm speaking to you here because this is the way that I like to communicate and I like to learn, but other people want to see and to do things. So whether it's, seeing the White House or getting to like experience things in real time and do it, that is a new way of travel. That is a new way of education. That is a new way of gameplay.
Right.
This is what the metaverse could be about.
How many of you have seen some of those shows that they are showing now, or even some things online where you can actually tour a house virtually? Have some of you seen some of those, right? How many of you have tried some glasses on virtually? They actually have those. Yeah, so all of that is that world, right? So it's not just a cool new tech thing. It's actually something that we're going to be able to put into use in real time, in real ways. Talk a little bit, though, about how should we be thinking about, a lot of us in the room, our generation, we're just catching up to what's happening in real time. What should we be thinking about just to prepare to be ready to embrace some of this emerging technology as the metaverse becomes more a part of our world?
Yeah. So it seems really scary and it seems really distant. So there's a couple different things to think about. Number one, the metaverse is still a ways away. So there's this narrative around like, the metaverse isn't real, like it's not going to happen. It is definitely still a ways away. Nobody's wearing AR glasses. It is going to take us a while to get to that AR vision where everyone's popping glasses on their face, and that's going to be the future. We're talking generations. That's okay. But if you look at it, parts of the metaverse are already here today.
That's right.
So whether you're viewing those spaces in 3D, whether you're starting to play in VR, there's going to be a bunch of different form factors that you will be able to access it. As we think about it, there's a whole bunch of ways in which this is creating things all from scratch.
Right,
and so what
right.
if from the very beginning we could redesign the internet and think about equality? What if we could think about equity? What if we could build in diversity from the very beginning?
Right.
And this is the opportunity for us to do it. This is what we are looking for. These are the things that we're actually deeply committed to at Meta, and the companies who are at the forefront of building a lot of the metaverse products are actually really thinking about. So although a lot of VR headsets admittedly are not cheap and are not affordable for a lot of people, internet access still a real thing.
Right.
But what if those are some of the barriers we could overcome and rebuild the internet or rebuild the metaverse in such a way that like we could actually build in and reduce some of the barriers of physical distance and reduce some of the barriers of economic disparity, like the way we've been talking about today. This is some of the promise of the metaverse that folks get really excited about and want to invest in at the very beginning. We're in really early days, and we've got a couple decades to do it right. Let's do it, let's invest in it, and let's think about it now before it gets ahead of us.
So you're saying that there may come a time that if we can't afford either financially or time to take a trip to Paris, we can just do a day trip to Paris via the metaverse.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What if you could travel that way? What if you could do it for fun? But what if you could also do it for real meaningful things?
Sure.
Not just education, but what if you could do work that way? What if like all of a sudden remote work was real meaningful internationally? What if we could break down work barriers that way, but also training. Like there's a lot of ways in which like training has been really difficult because the true expert who's the expert in this field only lives in this one area. What if we could make this person available worldwide?
Right.
So the ability for us to crack open things that have never been done on the work front, education, is just so phenomenal that we've really never had before in a 3D immersive way.
Can I ask one more question? And we'll actually show
Absolutely.
something in education. Because
Let's do
how many
it.
of you have ever done Wii Fitness? You know, you all remember the game Wii from a few years ago? You know, and some of those are like, you know, all dusted and like underneath a closet now somewhere. But you remember some of that interaction
That's
that
right.
we had? So that was a part of the first wave. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Of what the metaverse is. And so just for the room, because just in case we don't want to hire anybody yet through the metaverse and we don't want to move that far, that fast, how many of you all would at least be willing to exercise with the metaverse because you'd be able to, now, you know, again, some of you have already done it because you did your Wii Fitness and you played your Wii Tennis. And you played your Wii bowling. Am I aging myself? Y'all look my age. You're either a day older or a day younger. We ain't that far apart, right? So, but I think to your point, that's how the metaverse becomes something that connects to us.
That's right.
In the real, you know, kind of the real time, because what you're sharing about generations in future, for us who may want to start thinking about where do we fit in it, that may be a part of it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. There's a phenomenal game on the Oculus Quest called Supernatural.
Yay!
If you are a supernatural person, other supernatural people find each other.
Yeah.
It has a community similar to Peloton.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot the supernatural coaches are like sort of famous. They're rock stars. The way that Peloton coaches are also. It is a phenomenal game if you have the opportunity to play it. Fitness is a huge use case, and there are people over the pandemic who lost a ton of weight. I did not, but other people during the pandemic lost a ton of weight playing Supernatural. So there's fitness. And so while a lot of people talk about, you know, oh, it's a gaming thing, the ability to actually build community is actually a real thing that people are doing. During the pandemic, one of my very good friends met his girlfriend in World of Warcraft.
Wow.
And I was like, for real? They now live together. She moved from Florida. She now lives in the Bay Area, and they are about to get engaged and get married.
Wow.
World of Warcraft, game that's been around for decades.
Right.
But like that's the sort of, and this guy is in his like mid to late 40s. Like this is, I'm not talking about
is that
like
old?
I'm not.
I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing you.
But my point is that. But I'm not talking about. You know, a teenager or 20-year-old who plays video games.
Right.
Like these games really have the opportunity to build community and meaningful physical world relationships.
Can I jump into the conversation right there? Because you're saying something that really strikes, I think, with this generation.
Yeah.
And I want to be honest with, because I know who's in the room. People can learn things that they have not known.
That's right.
And find out it helps them in ways they did not know they needed.
Absolutely.
And I think that part of what you're sharing, and this is part of the passion we shared even in the green room prepping, that when people get exposed to something new, they never know how many more doors open up. And talk about that for you, how the metaverse has been that for you, just getting more and more. And I see the smile on your face.
I love this.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. So and part of the reason we talked about this earlier is Mark, my friend Mark, not my friend, but Mark Zuckerberg renamed the company to Meta a year ago, right? And everyone's like, oh, the metaverse is now a thing. I've been a metaverse lawyer now for almost 5.5 years. I've been working on this. I was on a metaverse team, and we're like, nobody can use this word. It's top secret. But we've been working on this for a really, really long time. And no matter if the metaverse is cool or not cool, it's written about, it's not written about, like, we are on this journey for a really long time. We are committed to it. Like, it is a long-term vision.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a metaverse lawyer tomorrow. I was a metaverse lawyer yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, I am passionate about it. I, like, love to talk about it. If anybody wants to talk about it after, let's talk about metaverse. But like this is like what gets me really excited. And so who knows? Like, I got into it because of education. I really deeply believe in the education component to it. I believe in what it's going to open for the next generation of people, not both social connections, but like, how do we educate people in a new way that's not just lectures and textbooks? Like, how do you create a really immersive experience using the technology that we've talked about today? How do you open new frontiers and ways that people can really learn here? But even just for me, like, over the experience of, I've been a metaverse lawyer, all of a sudden Mark is going to rename the company. Everyone's very excited about it. And like, I'm learning new things every day. So it's been a personal journey for me, and I'm really excited to see how this continues to evolve over the next 5, 10, 15, 30 years.
Show your appreciation for attorney Debbie Rosenbaum. Let me just drop this quick brag point, though. And I'm going to ask everybody to stand up real quick, because I know, again, we're talking about metaverse exercise, right? And I think some of the sliders, are starting to settle, and I want to make sure. So if, hold on, Debbie, don't go anywhere. No, stay here for a second, just a second. So if we're doing our virtual exercises in whatever manner we're going to do, we don't need a lot of space.
No,
we don't have to go to the gym.
That's right.
We don't have to go down the street. We don't have to go to the bar. So we can just stand in place. There's a screen in front of us, and what can we do? We can just start doing this, right?
Yeah, in VR, this is called a stationary boundary.
Come on. Now we're up here doing this. That means you're supposed to do it too. We're gonna start with this.
This is typical. You can do some hitting, some kickboxing, right? Right?
Don't hit anybody in front of you.
Yeah, this is great.
Those are the kind of things,
This is great.
Right?
Yeah, some in-place boxing.
Right. Right.
This is great.
So this is what. So what you're doing now is what you'll be able to do when you decide to bring the metaverse into your world.
That's
right.
right.
Show some love to Debbie again. Thank you all.
Guys, thank you.
All right.